Well, what do we have here? The Philadelphia Eagles have struck again. I thought ending Monday's stream would be enough to carry us over. We've got enough to talk about, whether it was Bryce Huff, whether it was potentially Saquon Barkley himself. There was plenty to get through. And then Howie Roseman decided that wasn't enough and went all out to bring in and bring back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Now, a lot of that obviously got discussed yesterday on Flipping the Birds and this morning on Trending in the AM, but we can go through it in our own way. I think one aspect of CJ, GJ, saying that out loud is, I'd rather say Gardner-Johnson. It's almost like she sells on the seashore then. I did well there. But there's a lot to get through with Chauncey and what he means to this team and the way he approached it specifically that I think is huge. The one takeaway that I have is directly correlated to Nick Sirianni when looking at these free agent moves so far. We'll get to that as the show goes on as well. If you're just joining us, bonjour, welcome, guten Tag. I don't know any other hello. That's also German. I don't know any Spanish. What's Spanish for hello? Can't remember. Anyway, if you're not hitting us on YouTube, make sure you are. We've got 70 of you watching on Twitter right now. If you head over to YouTube, you can drop comments. So Philly Sports Network is the channel. You can drop comments on the side like this one and get them read out. Max says, how did the penis reduction surgery go? I'm a bit sore. I can't lie. It's gone well. We're surviving, not thriving. But look, we're swinging for the fences in every sense of the word. Both me and Howie Roseman this year are just endlessly swinging. I mean, it is like a windmill down there after that reduction. I can't lie. But the game's the game. What can you do? Isaac says, crazy off-season, just one day, and we've got CJ. Now, I did want to try and maybe do a live cap calculation on stream as to roughly how much the Eagles have got, because I don't think they've got that much left. I think off the top of my head, around 16, 17 million, which, when you think about it, is fairly substantial knowing the free agents that are left and the needs this team has, which isn't that big. Like, there aren't a lot of needs left on this team. Sure, you can look at a cornerback, potentially. You can look at bringing in a name like Kool-Aid McKinstry. Potentially, you go and get yourself a linebacker. That's obviously the one that's circled in red right now. Some big names out there. Players like Isaiah Simmons, Devin White, still on the free agency market. And there's money there for the Eagles to do damage with. But when they had 40 million coming into this offseason, there are a lot of people that weren't overly sure about how aggressive they'd be. We got a little preview of it in the combine. I don't think anyone expected this. To me, this is the single most aggressive offseason I can remember since 2011. I'd argue that 2015 was up there, but I think it wasn't the same. Like, there were a couple of marquee contracts, and that was it for 2015. Like, Sam Bradford doesn't really equate to going all in on a season. The Eagles now have the base. They have the fundamentals. Like, this offense now should be one of the best in the NFL. Absolutely no excuses on that front. And to go out and get a guy like Bryce Huff, who we broke down film on Monday, we examined, we think he's going to be a thunderous addition to this defense in time. I think he's probably going to take a rotational role for a year at least. And then from there, we'll see. But there are plenty of names to keep an eye on still. A linebacker with the money to go and get them. Like, Howie has just gone all out. And the crazy thing is, none of this is being compromised in the draft. They're still sat pretty at 22. They've got a good selection in round 2. They've got a couple of other, I think they've got 2 round 2 picks. And then they've got a bit of a gap. There's 3 they have in round 5. They've got the potential to really load this, like almost reverse engineer this team underneath. A guy like Peyton Wilson, for me, from NC State, could be the guy. Like, that's the one I want now. That, like, forget the first round. I don't care if you have to trade up or trade back. Just get Peyton Wilson in Midnight Green. Is it going to compromise on Kobe Dean's development? Maybe, schmaybe. But I think overall, the linebackers will be fine, especially when you've got a back end that now consists of Gardner-Johnson, Reed Blankenship, potentially another rookie. I mean, whether you got to look at the guy out of Maryland, whether you got to potentially, I mean, Justin Simmons has been floated around for quite some time. But we'll see. But there are names out there, and this team isn't far away. Like, if you were to say that the one pressing need on this team is linebacker, can you name another one right now? I don't think there is. This team could hit the field on Monday and probably win comfortably. This team could play a season starting next week, win 10 games. Like, and that in itself, I think, is saying something. That they have already got better. Sure, losing Fletcher Cox sucks, losing Jason Kelsey sucks, but even that signing of Matt Hennessy to come in and just hold the fort while a guy like Cam Jurgens, Tyler Steen, maybe even Lando develops, it's impressive. There isn't any other need on this team now that strikes me as alarming. Wide receiver 3, I like Devontae Parker, purely because he's always been a fiend for me on Madden. One of my best friends is a Dolphins fan, and he's English, so that makes a change. But getting to watch a lot of secondhand Dolphins football through him, I've liked Devontae Parker. He's not, I know there's that stab out separation. Do the Eagles need that, or do they just need a soft pair of hands over the middle? Would you rather Quez Watkins get open 10 times out of 10 and drop 8 passes, or Parker get open 1 out of 10 and catch 9? I think I know which I prefer. So just saying. We'll get to some of your comments. I can say, well, I can't say that. Look, I'm trying to be somewhat PG here, Matthew. You behave yourself, sunshine. Caleb, welcome to the show, man. Do you think we'll bring back, can't even say it now. Do I think we'll bring back any of our free agents? None of them have signed elsewhere. Let's go through it. Let's find the list and have a look, shall we? We can do a little classroom exercise together. Give me about 12 seconds while I figure this thing out again. So we go here. That one. Cool. Right. Free agents. Who's coming back? Who's not? Who we got left? So CJ's in, Hennessy's in. Morrow, absolutely not. I mean, he's gone anyway, isn't he? To Buff. What are Buffalo doing, by the way? What are the Bills actually doing? That's a separate thing. Braden Mann, Rick Lovato, Zach Bound, all signed. Jake Elliott signed an extension today, so special teams are set up. Zach's going to be a part of that, I think. Again, we broke down his tape on Monday. I think he's got some high upside as an off-ball linebacker. He was very versatile in the highlights that we saw, lined up literally all over that box, whether it was at the line, on the right, off the left. It didn't matter. He was everywhere. So I think he's going to be a special teams ace, but will be... I mean, he could potentially be a Sean Bradley replacement. And I'd like to... No disrespect to Sean Bradley. He's a friend of the podcast. He's been on PSN several times. I think Bound might have a bit more upside than him. I don't think that's far-fetched to say. So maybe that's the replacement they're looking at there. As far as the actual free agents, Maddox, I don't think will. Unless he comes back in 6 months on a rework deal. My hot take for the start of this year with Maddox is that, well, I had him being traded in the mock draft. I put a mock draft out and he was released an hour after. So that was fantastic. But to me, I think Chauncey Gardner-Johnson will start the season in the slot. And I know we've got a comment. Where was it? Let me quickly go and find it a minute. Somewhere. Yeah, cool. So it's from Rare Breed, who said, don't forget that Sidney Brown's going to be injured all year. He's only going to miss, well, I don't know. I don't know him. I don't know what his recovery is. But I think he's going to miss maybe 4 to 5 games. He'll certainly start the season on injured reserve. And that's where the signing of Gardner-Johnson's important. It depends how they value that nickel spot. But CJ GJ is someone that has proven he can play in the nickel. He's done it for every team he's played for. He's done it well. So realistically, would you like Maddox to come back? I don't think it's going to work. So I'd rather see McPherson get a shot, but his growth has been stunted so much at this point. I don't really know where he's at development-wise, because all we've seen from him really as fans is in preseason lining up on the outside as like a 5'3" corner being bullied. And it's never going to work. He needs to be in that nickel role. I'm hoping with a summer's worth of development, he can be ready to at least be serviceable, if not be a backup. And the Eagles, in the meantime, not that Bradley Roby was a home run hit, but they can bring in a name like that can just, tide them over for a little while. They can maybe go out and trade for a name. There are a couple guys in the draft that make sense. I forget his name. I was going to say Brian Baldinger. There's a guy, Baldy from Maryland, who is someone that is insanely physical, can play the nickel, has played over the top. He should be like a second-round pick-ish. And again, it's that same sort of thing. If he can have Gardner-Johnson at the top, another safety, both of them versatile enough to switch around, we know that Fangio scheme really thrives on masking things. It does it to generate pressure. Sean Desire had the right mentality, but forgot that last bit. So was just throwing guys everywhere willy-nilly, not really knowing what he's doing. So you need strengths on that back end. And when you look at some of the top players who have ever played under Vic Fangio, they are linebackers and they are corners and safeties. They just are. Like, it's not a fact. If you go way back in his coaching career. So I wouldn't be shocked to see Gardner-Johnson start at the nickel, Reed Blankenship at one safety, and then maybe they bring in a rookie. I presume that's why they're still in on Justin Simmons. Why even after the Gardner-Johnson signing, we're still getting murmurs that they might like Justin Simmons, or that the price is too steep, but they're interested. So that would be where I see that lying at the minute. Boston Scott, I don't know, man. I think he serves his purpose, doesn't he? But I think every year that's gone on, his role is reduced. And I want to verify that. I don't want to misspeak because, look, I have some credibility here, even if I do have an 11-inch penis these days. Let's have a look a minute. So Boston, I just want to see his snap counts. Forget production. I'm pretty sure they've gone down. Yeah. So last 3 years, 21, 17, and 7. So his role is reduced every year. And there was a time when he was as serviceable as you could ask for as a rotational running back, a change of pace guy to support Miles Sanders. Then Kenny Gainwell came in, and he's been inconsistent at best, but when he's good, he's very good. And you've now got Saquon Barkley, who is good enough and durable enough to handle that 3-down workload. So that's going to push Gainwell back to that change of pace role. I don't think Boston Scott comes back in 2024. I could genuinely see him going to the Giants in a cruel twist of fate. That would not shock me in the slightest. Justin Evans was shit, if we're being honest, but veteran safety, has played this scheme for a year or some iteration of it. Not the worst move they could make, especially if you are going to still try and pitch Gardner-Johnson in the slot. If you're going to have him over the top, don't sweat it, let him go. But it's that kind of very low budget, but has NFL experience and can play that will do. Shaq Leonard, no, that was a waste of time. Sua Opeta, I genuinely think will come back. I think Sua Opeta is someone that has gone from being undrafted, very overlooked, and over the last few years, whenever he's been asked to step up to the plate, he has. I don't think I've ever had a bad word to say about a Sua Opeta rep or a game. Like, I don't think he's ever blown an assignment. He's never been caught on his arse. He's never been pancaked or anything. And I know these are very marginal things to go off, and I'm sure you can look at PFF stats and things. But the only other thing to bear in mind with Opeta is he is now 27. He's not the undrafted guy that was 23 that's getting better, that has a lot of meat left on the bone. You'd like to think at this point, if he was going to be the guy, they wouldn't have had to draft Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, and Tyler Steen, who can all play that interior guard position, especially when they still had guys like Sayamale when he arrived. So he's been around this team for a few years. I don't think there's that much more meat on the bone. I could see him coming back as a valuable backup, but I'm not expecting him to develop into anything more than that. Rashad Penny, no, that might go down as one of the biggest missed hits, and not in terms of financial value. It obviously is not a DeMarco Murray, but I think for the value that it was, there was certainly a lot of hype, a lot of excitement from Eagles fans, knowing that Penny, when healthy, was a really solid running back, was a very good downhill running back in Seattle. And that just didn't transpire to Philadelphia, and that sucked. So Penny's gone. The penny's dropped there. OZ, please, 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 please bring him back. Please bring him back, Howie. Look, I know Howie watches his stream. All right, it's my fault he drafted John Hightower, probably. There's no other way he's going to know he is it? So we know Howie Roseman loves the show. We know he's a big fan. Bring OZ back. Let me right my wrongs. Bring Olamide Zaccheaus back on this team. He's everything Quez Watkins isn't. Consistent, can catch the football. You've got Devontae Parker to be your just generic slot possession receiver. Let OZ stretch the defense and then bring in a guy like Luke McCaffrey, for instance, who I think could be a great fit for this team. Wide receiver, obviously the younger brother of Christian. I was watching some tape on him earlier before a mock draft. I think he's going to be a very good gadget player in the NFL. And the Eagles need people that can thrive in open space. Zaccheaus can do it. Whenever his name was called up, he answered it. He answered the phone. Quez Watkins didn't. Jalen Hurts said to everyone to answer their phones. Quez left his on airplane mode and just didn't receive it. The phone died. Phone's gone. He's using an Android now. So I would say bring back Olamide Zaccheaus. After a down year especially, it's probably going to be a similar level contract, if not a bit cheaper to what we saw last year. Jack Driscoll, Yeah, I can see them bringing Driscoll back just because there isn't much depth at tackle at the minute. So yeah, I think Driscoll will come back probably on like a 5 mil a year deal. It'll probably be a bit of a bump because he is serviceable. He has played games for the Eagles over the last couple of years. He's not Lane Johnson by any means. I don't think he ever will be, but he is a former draft pick. He's someone that has got better as time's gone on, and realistically is a player that can contribute. Like Lane Johnson isn't getting any younger. The injuries are starting to mount a little bit, if we're being honest. Like there have been just a growing list. Like whenever Lane goes down, you're terrified. And that's no knock on Lane Johnson. It's just because of how valuable he is to the team, realizing he's getting older. He's had a few surgeries. He's had a few problems on that ankle. We know it's a problem. Whenever he goes down, your heart's in your mouth. And just having a guy that is at least serviceable is valuable. So, yeah, I think Driscoll will come back. Sean Bradley, I don't know. I know he wants to come back. I don't think that's a shock to anyone, but I know he wants to come back. He has been a core special teams guy. I'd like to think the Eagles retain him. But at the same time, having now seen them land Zach Bown, who has defensive upside, looks like he will be a much better fit for this scheme based on how he was used in New Orleans. I don't know. I don't know. Like outside of special teams, I don't think Sean Bradley is, even last year when the defense sucked. Like the Eagles sucked last year. Did he have an injury last year? Before I misspeak on that, I can't actually remember if he did. If he did, I do apologize. But if he didn't, he couldn't crack a starting lineup or get defensive reps when you had Zach Cunningham running in circles and Nicholas Morrow solving crosswords. I don't think there's much reason to bring him back. Although I'd love it, and he's a good core guy to have, and he's a strong leader, and he's a local kid, I think that Zach Bound signing is very much a replacement. Could be wrong. Quez Watkins. No comment. Jack Stoll. No, the experiment's ended. The guy's 26 and he has done jack shit since signing with the Eagles. So, look, I like Stoll, but the Eagles have tried so long for this like developmental tight end, whether it's Jack Stoll, whether it's Grant Calcaterra, whether it's Tyree Jackson or John from Wawa. They've continuously tried to find a developmental guy to groom behind Dallas Goedert. That's failed. About 4 years in a row now, that has absolutely gone tits up. And they have no option behind Dallas Goedert. Like, even now, Calcaterra is okay. Not a good blocker. Stoll's a good blocker. Can't receive. So I think they need to sign either a veteran tight end, just not Richard Rodgers again, please. Anyone listening to this, just do not bring him back. Or you go and hit the draft. And there are a few guys early on, and there's a few guys late on that could fit that mold. It depends on how long the leash is on Dallas Goedert, how long do they anticipate he's going to be in Philadelphia. He should be here for a few more years. He's got a payday coming up. Can they get a replacement in time ready to take over from him? Because again, last year, Dallas Goedert was the same age as Zach Ertz was when the Eagles drafted him. Then he was also the same age. So basically, Brent Selleck and Zach Ertz, Brent Selleck and Zach Ertz were the same age when their replacement was drafted. Dallas Goedert hit that age last year. They didn't do it. And now they're another year where they still don't have a solid option at tight end too. It's not the biggest need in the world, especially with Devontae Parker, who is a fairly stout blocker. He does contribute in run fits and stuff. Like he's not terrible. So I wouldn't be mad at another developmental guy, but for Christ's sake, they've got to hit, because I can't stomach another undrafted free agent who started at defensive tackle, played a year at receiver, and now is a tight end, walking around and then doing nothing on game days. And you get hyped all summer because they make one big catch and he's 6'9", and then he plays the game and nothing happens. So they've got to find an actual tight end that plays actual football at an actual decent level and develop that. And again, there are names in the draft. For me, like Darlene Hooker is probably Holker, I beg your pardon, is probably the name I go to for a late pick. Obviously, he's known as the guy that caught both the balls in the NFL Combine, but he had like 800 yards receiving last year. He's a very soft-handed catcher. He's not overly athletic, not overly nimble, but he's physical, can absorb hits and catch balls. And that's sort of all the Eagles need when you've got someone like Dallas Goedert who can perform. See, there he goes. Look, Lee knows ball. Lee knows ball. And our name starts the same. Liam, Darlene Hooker. Li, Darlene, Lee, Liam. He knows ball. He knows ball. And that's what we do on this show. We encourage ball knowledge. Let's get to some of your comments now we've done the free agency thing out the way. Let's see what we've got. Sup Liam says, Alex T, have you detoxed from all the bad Eagles football yet? I had a nice break from thinking about football so intensely. Unfortunately not. I mean, that is, I say the downside like it's a bad thing, but obviously my job means I have to talk about the Eagles like every single day of the year. Christmas, New Year, birthday, wedding day, I'm assuming I'll be sat like trying to get married, writing an article on why the Eagles should keep Jalen Hurts in 3-4 years' time. Like that's going to be on the side somewhere. So I have to do it every day. And a large part of this offseason has been looking at the coaches who deserve to be fired, the AJ Brown stuff, the Darius Slay stuff. So I've been more exhausted than usual, if that makes sense. Like at least last year it was, hey, they made the Super Bowl. They almost got it done. They couldn't, but they're good enough to get back. This year, the wheels fell off. Everything went tits up, and it has just been a mess. So I'm very, very happy to sit here knowing that within 3 days of free agency hasn't even started yet. It's technically started today. But they've got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Saquon Barkley, Bryce Huff, Matt Hennessy, Zach Bound. They've re-signed Brandon Graham. Like, it's been huge. Landon Dickerson's another one that's come back. Like, they've made some real moves, and it's all positive. There is not a single move made where I look at it and think, tits, that's gone wrong. The only exception is Bryce Huff from a financial standpoint. I like the player. I like his age. I like his skill set. I think it is going to complement Reddick if Reddick stays. I don't think he's ready for a big role yet. As much as the Eagles are forecasting it, he's going to be a fringe edge 2, edge 3 guy for a year, then let him go up. I think we need to see repeat success. And that's why I think it's jumping the gun, how he's always done it. And I'm not mad at it. It makes sense, right? You know, in the same way, I'm a big football manager guy, or I guess soccer manager, but that's not a thing. It's called football manager, all right? But like, love that game. Like, it's like Madden career mode on absolute crack. It's phenomenal. And if you see a player have one breakout year and it's in like Colombia and they're dirt cheap, you bring him in. You sign them. You get all the Brazilian wonder kids over. And if they don't turn out, it doesn't matter. Because if they hit their ceiling, you're going to cash in later. And it's sort of the same thing. A 10-sack season is nothing to scoff at, especially when you're playing in New York. Like, it's a tough thing to do. And especially at his age, as an undrafted free agent, to go from that to a 10-sack season in 3 years highlights the growth rate that he has. So you surround him with guys like Hassan Reddick. You surround him with guys like Brandon Graham. Hypothetically, he's only going to get better. So I'm all for it. I'm just hesitant because I know 6 weeks in, he's going to be on 2 sacks and 30% of snaps. And everyone's going to kick off like that wasn't the expectation. And be like, oh my God, Bryce Huff's a bum. Like, no, he's not. He's good at what he does. To maximize it, I think he has to be in that role because he's not going to be as quick when he's on the field 60, 70% of the time. Like, the fatigue's going to set in. He's really good at what he does. I'm excited to see his development in Philadelphia. The first year I'm not asked about. Year 2, for me, I want him to be that key. He might be it this year. I might be wrong. I might be being overly cautious. But again, I said this on Monday. How many people actually knew him before the signing? Not many. Because he was a rotational guy in New York. He wasn't a starting defensive end. He wasn't your go-to guy. He wasn't a TJ Watt. He wasn't a Hassan Reddick. Or name literally any starting edge rusher from any team. He just wasn't that guy. So, again, that season last year was extremely comparable to what we saw from Brandon Graham in 2022. Stats-wise, snaps-wise, the lot. It's near enough identical in that rotational role. BG at his age can only really do that. There is upside. There's a lot of upside on a guy that is doing that at age 26. So I get it. It's just not a move I'd have personally made because I'm very stingy when it comes to money and that sort of thing. But alas, what can you do? We'll go to some more of your comments. Hola is Spanish for hello. Ni hao in Mandarin. And do I even want to try and... I can't... Right. I can't tell if he's taking the piss or it is literally gush fridgen. Or is he just trying to get me to say it? Is he winding me up? I don't know. See, we're 2 streams back into this and we're already gone AWOL. Bobby Wagner. I'm trying to get us to show. There we go. Bobby Wagner signs a 1-year deal up to 8.5 mil with the Commanders. Waste of time. I don't know what the Commanders are doing this offseason. Like, they've got the most cap space in NFL history. I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere. And all they've done is get progressively worse. It's phenomenal content. The Giants are getting worse. The Cowboys can't sign anyone, and every good player they've got is literally leaving. Tyler Biadasz, who we were all high on in the draft and wanted him to be a Kelsey replacement, he's gone. Tony Pollard, gone. The only people left in Dallas, really, Dak Prescott, and the corner that we won't mention that thinks he's way better than he actually is. What can you do? Mark Stevenson's in. I agree OZ should get a roster spot. What about Hunter Renfrow in the slot? I like it. I don't think the Eagles are going to spend more than they have to. Like, especially after bringing in Devontae Parker for the price that he is. Like, he literally cost them a can of Coke and a sausage roll. There's no, value in that contract at all. He's kind of the same guy. What was the Giants? Was it Golden? It wasn't Golden Tate. It was... Oh, bollock. Giants receiver that came in and we all thought he might be all right and he was cut by training camp. There you go. There's an Eagles trivia question. I'm trying to think who it was. Balls. Victor Cruz? Was it Victor Cruz? It might have been Victor Cruz. I don't think it was. Maybe we'll find out. Someone's going to tell me. If you're on Twitter, head to YouTube. Let me know in the comments. I need finding out about this. But yeah, so I don't think they're going to spend on slot receivers, especially again when there's a lot of good ones in the draft. There's a lot of versatile gadget guys in the draft that will complement this offense. So there you go. If Kellen likes 2 TE sets, we'll find one. And now we're back. It's our time, Philly. A long time. How you been? I've been good. We're back in the saddle. We started streaming at the start of last year, and we're going to be doing it Monday, Wednesday, Friday on the ticker. 6 p.m. Eastern every week, baby. We're back. So, yeah, thank you for hanging around, man. I appreciate you showing up after all this time. And hopefully we start getting some more people back who used to be PSN followers. I know the channel died, and we're bringing it back. We're raising it. And I would say I'm a new man, but my voice is just as annoying and the haircut's just as shit. So, unfortunately, the game's the game. What's up with fantasy again? As in, we can do a PSN fantasy league. We can definitely do a PSN fantasy league this year. 100%. Have you posted your thoughts about your new coordinators? If not, what do I think? Vic Fangio, look, it's like the Eagles are insistent on doubling down on everything. And I think this will lead very nicely into my comment about Howie Roseman. So I'll try and segue it smooth. It wasn't Mario Manningham. Steve Smith? Steve Smith. All right, it wasn't Victor Cruz. I said Victor Cruz played for the Eagles. Castrate me. Get that 11-inch penis out of it. That was horrific. No, I wasn't going to do it. It's a good effort from the boys there, though. But yeah, thoughts and coordinators. Just before we do, wait a minute. If you are on Twitter watching this, because we have got 200 of you watching this on Twitter, head to the YouTube channel, right? Just go on YouTube, on your app, on your phone, Philly Sports Network, and you can drop your comments in. You can leave a like on the video. It's the best way to help the channel grow. It means a ton. Again, especially when we're trying to raise it back from the dead. It takes a village, and we've got a bloody city in here. So I need all of you guys to get us to that moon so I can rant about the Eagles at more people, and they can all tell me to stick to soccer. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And back to the coordinators. The Eagles are obsessed with Vic Fangio. I don't overly know why, but it is what it is. You know when your friend gets with someone, right? Like they get a girlfriend or a boyfriend for, first time in a while, and you see a picture, and you have a look, and the response is always, as long as you're happy, right? Which is the worst thing someone could say to you. If you go, oh yeah, there she is, that love of my life, I love her, and someone goes, as long as you're happy, right? That's the Eagles of Vic Fangio, I think. I really like it. I don't care how it looks, what the defense does, who drops into coverage, who blitzes, or whatever. I don't care if, Fletcher Cox is the defensive coordinator next year. But as long as that defense produces and isn't a mess like it was in 2023, I don't mind. So I'm willing to give it a shot. And I think if anyone is going to execute that scheme, it's the man who literally built it. So there is some sense of confidence that Fangio has been around this league since before I was born. He's going to be someone that can get the best out of these players and can do or implement the vision that Howie or Lurie or whoever it is have to its fullest potential. If that vision still sucks, fair enough. right? But they've given it a go, and then they can move on and find someone else. So I don't mind Fangio. Kellen Moore, I think, got a lot of hype when he first joined the Cowboys. Understandably so. The offense was great, really, last year. If we're being subjective, I know it's easy to put, your blinders on and not really think about it, but it was a good offense. It had its flaws, and I haven't done too much digging on it, like numerically or trend-wise and patterns, but the young coaches always seem to be, I guess it's like quite typical, but the most ambitious and the most willing to adapt because they're trying to cement their own legacy. It's not a coach dying on his sword like Fangio would be. Like Fangio's system is Fangio's system. That's it, right? It's you live by the fans, you die by the fans. Fangio's in the middle, okay? Kellen Moore, I'd like to think, is a bit more moldable because he is younger. He leaves Dallas, comes here. Like this is a big step now, and if he can thrive, if he doesn't succeed here, he's going to probably end up going back to college or something. So he needs this, and because of that, there comes a level of if something's not working, shit, I have to change it. That probably wasn't there with Sirianni just calling the shots. So I'm cautiously optimistic on both. I'm more optimistic on Fangio, but I prefer the upside of Moore if they can keep him around. The one thing the Eagles have really struggled to do is keep these coordinators and coaches around. So hopefully that changes and it's a bit of a new era. But it does bring me on to my next point as we hit the halfway mark in the show, which is wasn't even intentional, but I'm on a roll today. All I can think of, genuinely, when I look at the moves from the past couple of days, is that Nick Sirianni has to do something. Like, if it is Super Bowl or bust. If Nick Sirianni wobbles even that much, if the Eagles choke one game within the first 5, if they do not win the winnable games, if they don't beat the 2-win teams, if they get blown out like they did against miserable outfits, he's out. Absolutely out. All this has done to me, it's like Howie Roseman has gone, right, we'll keep you around, but we're doing it our way. And it's gone, yeah, whatever. And if I'm Sirianni, I'm shitting myself. If I'm brutally honest, I know I'm a lovely coach. I love my job. It's part and parcel of it. I've missed being fired by that much, and the team is now infinitely better than it was when it should have made the Super Bowl last season, when they were a 10-win team who beat the Chiefs, who beat the Dolphins, who beat the Cowboys. Like, that was a very good football team. And it's now got better because you've got a generationally gifted running back. You've got Bryce Huff, who should be a fixture now for hopefully years to come. And you bring back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, a level of safety that was totally absent from that secondary last year. This Eagles team is built for a Super Bowl. And all this has done is put a ton of pressure on Sirianni. Because if he doesn't, if the offense rolls out it's the same thing, right, with Kellen Moore. No one really knew, when all was said and done, who was responsible for the Eagles' demise. It was a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and like no one really knew. But if Sirianni goes out and that offense looks identical to how it did last year, or there are trends that emerge and they don't get adapted, things like running the ball, things like too many vertical passes, not enough options, not enough pre-snap movement, all of these things which have been very fairly prompted at Sirianni for a while, I don't think he's going to last long. There is no excuse. I could coach that football team, right, this season and get them to the playoffs. I won't win a Super Bowl. I'd probably poo myself and I'd call the wrong play or something. But I don't see a way where Nick Sirianni sees this and doesn't think, bollocks. Like, I've got new guys. These aren't my guys. These are Howie's guys or Jeffrey's guys, and they're doing things their way. And I've got to captain the ship. And the ship's very much on autopilot now. But if Sirianni folds again, he's out. Like, all this team has done is get better. Incredibly talented safety. One of the best running backs in the game. They get depth at wide receiver 3. They bolster defensive end. They've got an arsenal of draft picks that can be used to fortify the likes of linebacker and elsewhere. This team is already... look, if this team played last year's schedule, they easily pissed the Bucs. They waltzed past the Bucs. They probably make the NFC Championship. They might even win it. Okay? This is it now for Sirianni, in my opinion. And that was like my main takeaway from the past couple of days. Well, was that it's been too aggressive Everyone has been all in. Howie is all in. This team is all in. And if Nick Sirianni is even a smidgen out of line, I don't think it lasts very long, and it might end in tears. But we'll get to some of your comments. Good to see you, says Stoney. Now, I'm not sure about Stoney or S. Tony. I want to go with Stoney because he looks like he's riding a Stone Island. And looking at his profile pic, I reckon he'd rock a Stone Island jacket. Get that badge in, Stoney. Get that badge in, lad. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for hanging out. Scotty's in. Look at this guy. Nice to see you, Scotty. Thanks for hanging out. I think we've accidentally resuscitated the channel, and we're now getting a lot of the old crew back in. Good to see. Thanks for hanging out, Scotty. The only upside of Vic is it is his system. If it doesn't work this year, they have to change it. 100%. Absolutely. Hey, LJ, you're back. I am indeed. Not the only thing that's back. You know who else is back? Brandon Graham. What a man. Really happy he's back. Vic's the biggest red flag. Defense will need good interior depth in order to survive in the event of injuries. Well, who have they got at the minute? I mean, obviously, Cox is gone. You've got Jalen Carter's there. Jordan Davis is there. Milton Williams is there. That's 3. You only need one 28-year-old space eater. You don't need a lot, I don't think. Like, it depends how they go about it. It really does. But to me, it feels like they're really focusing on edge talent. And if you've got a guy like Jordan Davis that can just open up holes, that can absorb double teams, and can facilitate that speed in a one-on-one matchup with Bryce Huff. He didn't say interior depth. He just said good depth. My apologies. Anyway, I should carry on my point. If you take all of it away, it feels like the defensive tackles, the interior in this system are there to open things up for guys like Reddick, for guys like BG, for guys like Nolan Smith. And it's no coincidence that you go from a Javon Hargrave era where he dominated in Philadelphia. My camera's gone, that's fun. Brandon Graham has a career year in 2022 when Hassan Reddick puts up another 10-sack campaign with ease. I think that's definitely the way they're building. And defensively, on the interior, they're set. On the exterior, I think they're set. It's just linebacker now. Like, they need to get that sorted. And if they can, it's game over for a lot of teams. It really, really is. Simp C. Oh, you can put comments on Twitter. I had no idea. Simp, you are our first. And you can simp for me if you want. But you'll have to pay for it. I'm sorry. The best O-line Saquon's ever run behind. Absolutely. Did you know the Giants' offensive line ranked 30th last year, and Saquon still put up 3.9 yards per carry and over, 900 yards? I think 926 off the top of my head. I could be a few out, but you never know. That's insane behind a line that bad. What's he going to do with Jordan Mailata, with Cam Jurgens, Tyler Steen, Landon Dickerson, Lane Johnson, paving the way for one of the best running backs in the league? He's going to be a menace, an absolute Dennis the Menace, a phantom menace is Saquon Barkley. And I can't wait for it. I genuinely think he's going to have a great season. If only he stays healthy. If he can stay healthy and they can monitor the workload and potentially, sprinkle in Kenny Gainwell, get a rookie running back in there, he's going to be fine. But it's one of them. Like, you don't even need to break down film. I don't need to go watch Saquon Barkley highlights. Like, he's that damn good. He always has been. He was since he came out of Penn State. He was in his rookie year. He's still as good now. So you don't need to do and that's it. I don't know why my camera keeps going. I'm sorry about that. It might be the ghost. You never know. What else have we got? If Jalen isn't exiting this year, he's not a good quarterback. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tricky one. That is a tricky one. Because I think he was good last year. He just wasn't great. I mean, you've got to me, the NFL tier system of quarterbacks is built elite, great, good, mid, awful. Like, somewhere like that. Like, good should be top 15, really. You're a top half of the league guy. You're in the top 10. So realistically, Jalen Hurts is a good fringe great, depending on the year. Great 2022, good in 2023. He's going to be probably somewhere in the middle. If we're being honest, like top 8, top 9 quarterback. I'd much rather have him than Justin Herbert, put it that way. So, yeah, like, it is what it is. But at the same time, I just don't see how he's going to be penalized. It depends. Like, the only reason I think Hurts struggled so much was because the offensive cards he were being dealt were Uno cards. the offensive playbook was an Uno deck. There was 1, 2, 3, switch, Uno reverse, whatever it is. That's it. There was like 4 plays he ran the entire year. And a lot of the times, like the sloppy picks and play came from very clear frustration. At times where the game was either largely out of reach, or it had to happen. There had to be a risk for that play to exist. So I don't know. I don't buy into that. I think Hurts is going to have a very long leash. Obviously, he signed that contract for a reason. The Eagles are still confident with him. Otherwise, you'd have heard more than enough whispers by now. Look at Carson Wentz. All right, after that disappointing collapse we saw a few years ago, didn't take long for the murmurs and the whispers and the anonymous sources to come out. And we saw a couple, and none of them really fronted Jalen Hurts outside of his leadership because apparently he's quiet. I'd much rather that than just causing trouble. But, let bygones be bygones. I don't think there's anything to be concerned about with Hurts. If he was internally viewed as anything less than a great quarterback, I think we'd know about it by now. And that should instill confidence that with a new coordinator that isn't inept like Brian Johnson was. Although looking back, I get it. AC/DC tour in Europe this year. Brian Johnson's the lead singer. He was dual gigging. He's trying to focus on calling plays for the Eagles while also deciding where to put Thunderstruck in the set list. It's a tough gig, man. We got to cut him some slack. But yeah, I think Hurts will be fine this year. I really, really do. Saquon has never had a line that was ranked in top 10 in run blocking and run block win rate. See, Isaac is a little baller. We say this every time. The stats he is continuously pulling out of his ass are beyond exciting. Well done, Isaac. They don't even need the best linebacker and safety. They have good, consistent play, and we could have gotten to the NFC Championship easily. Yeah, and I think they will this year. I think, for me, the expectation, which is weird considering we've got the draft, we've got training camp, a lot can change. Probably will. You can have injuries, you can have setbacks, shock trades, all the rest of it. But as this team is right now, anything less than a championship appearance is a drastic disappointment. Look, if you make the championship and you don't win, I think that's passable because the team's good enough to get there and you're 1 win away from a Super Bowl. Like, it's kind of the one that you can stomach. If they fail to get a first round bye, if they find themselves in wild card games, if they find themselves scrapping in week 18, absolutely dismal and something needs to happen. We're back on this. So the PS5's turned on, the Christmas trees moved. The streams are officially back, ladies and gentlemen, in the most non-Eagles Eagles stream you will find online. It is always a little bit chaotic on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday evening. So again, if you're hanging out with us tonight for the first time, thank you for doing so. Stick around, hit subscribe, leave a like. The like one matters. Again, it just helps us massively, massively, massively grow this channel. So if you could give it a like, that would be absolutely outstanding. If you're on Twitter, right, looking at you lot, 274 of you, having a meander on your way home, right? Get to YouTube when you've got some time, say hello, drop a comment in. And if you can leave a like and subscribe, you get notified when we go live and you can hang out with us on YouTube and get to talk to lovely people such as Dirk, Isaac, and Matt, and Greg, and everyone else in this stream who we love very, very dearly. And we've got 303 of you watching right now, which is absolutely sensational. And shout to Super Phil Stifle and Brad E. Beretta for liking this stream on Facebook. Absolute ballers, the two of you. We won 10 games with incredible talent on the team and so too horrible play calling. Hope we're better play calling, we hit the next level. I think so. I think there's no way this team shouldn't be a championship team next year. I know it's early. We've been here before. We've had a couple of dream teams in our lifetime and they've largely gone tits up. But this just does feel different. It feels like Howie almost took, the loss to Tampa Bay personally. He took that demise personally and he's gone out, got himself. When has Howie ever bought a running back or ever signed a running back to that kind of level? The last was DeMarco Murray and he has been scared off them ever since. It is the most he's paid a running back, I believe, since LaShawn McCoy. I think this was more than DeMarco Murray. I might need to double check it, but I'm pretty sure is wrong. Video quality is shit. Audio's not lining up and there are ghosts in the background. I think it's my internet. I'm very sorry if that is the case. I never know if he's winding me up, though. I never know. He's a little sneaky snake, is Matty Mac. He's always getting at me. Our team loves Jalen so much. AJ went on WIP to defend his relationship. Exactly. Also, F them. Not the guys. WIP. No, I take it back. I take it back. WIP are lovely, and Brian goes on there and, on the Jody Mack show. So some of WIP are a pain in the ass. But I think it's just sports talk radio, and I don't want to diverge too much from it. What I will say is there's a lot of great YouTubers and content creators who can actually sustain a show and keep it interactive and entertaining without being clickbaity. And I'm not talking about me. I'm not that much of an egomaniac. But Phil is a great example. Host trending in the AN here. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday morning at around 8:15. Check it out. It's phenomenal viewing. And there's guys like the Philly 500. There's guys like Lord Brunson. There's some brilliant YouTubers out there that do fantastic work. I think Philly Castro's another one. He's really come on leaps and bounds over the past couple of years. Just some great guys in this space that do a lot of great work and rarely get the credit. Sorry, I was reading comments. They rarely get the credit they deserve. So yeah, I would just say on the WIP stuff, just don't tune into it if it's that bad. There's plenty of alternatives. We live in a world where anyone, look at me. For Christ's sake, I'm kind of living evidence of it, right? I'm 29 now. I'm British. I still live in England. This is my full-time job. Okay? There are plenty of people like me that aren't as annoying, that don't have a voice as infuriating, that deserve that attention as well, that are busting their ass out for the kind of attention those guys get. So yeah, just that's where I'm at. Look, WIP is great. It serves a purpose. But I think we're in a really interesting time where there's some really cool, exciting content creators coming through. Hopefully, we can land a couple of them at PSN and we can really start this revolution again. Because I was at the forefront a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So hopefully we can get a couple cool names in and bring some shows over here. Is the internet that bad? Is the internet that bad? I cannot believe what I'm saying. I know, best stream in a while. That's where he's flirting. I get all blushy. He's flirting with me. Oh, what a lovely... Stop it. Stop it. K1's in. Bloody hell, Liam. There you are. Here I am. I had a Zoom call today and I had this microphone. I sat here like this in a team meeting for work because I like it. I'm when singers go barefoot on stage, it's like that. I just sit here and it's good. Sorry about the internet, though. We've got around 15 minutes, 10, 12-ish minutes left. Anything you guys want to go over from the past couple of days? I guess the one thing we haven't spoken about is the special teams editions from today. For a minute, genuinely, right? All join me with this because I'm doing it. Can we get a round of applause for Jake Elliott? I'm going to give him a standing ovation. The man has just signed the biggest contract of any kicker in NFL history, and he's so deserving. I think he's the greatest Eagles kicker of all time. If he's not now, he definitely will be within a year or two maximum. I think he's 549 points away from a big record. I'll find the stat earlier. Let me give me a minute. Give me a minute. Right, let's round of applause for Jake Elliott. Round of applause. There we go. That's for you, Jake. You're welcome. You're welcome, Jake. That's on the house. You have to pay for that one. That's free. You had 312 people all do that at once. All of them did that at once. I can guarantee it. Everyone just got up and clapped, just like I did. That's the impact you have. See, look at all the claps that are in the chat. I love him. Genuinely, I think Jake Elliott might be one of my favorite Eagles of all time. He's been here for so long now. He's stood the test of time. He had one bad year and it was a bit shaky, got a bit nervous, got a bit wobbly. And he came back and just turned into a generational kicker. And it's so weird to say that we said this during the year, that when there's a kick from 53, 48, 49, it's almost a guarantee he makes it. And that should never be the case with a kicker. It should always be, oh, big moment. Always want to get paid the money. Come on then. Oh, and Jake Elliott, I genuinely had times the Eagles are 54 yards away. I've looked up from my phone and gone, yeah, just tweet that he's made that. And he has. It's so weird. It's so reliable. He's a fantastic person. Brilliant kicker. I think will be, probably the best kicker in Eagles history. I know we all love David Akers. I know he's a legend. Jake has won a Super Bowl. Has he? Jake did win a Super Bowl, didn't he? Have I just botched that? He has won a Super Bowl. I've panicked myself now. I think he did. It wasn't Caleb Sturgis, was it? I need to make sure of this. I think he did. Yeah, he did. That was his first year. Whew. He did. He did. Okay. I got nervy. I had a weird feeling it was Caleb Sturgis, and I shat it. I don't know why. But yeah, won a Super Bowl. I think he's going to be the greatest kicker of all time. And again, sorry for the internet. I think it's because we've got too many viewers. We've got like 300 people in this chat. I think it might be that. I need to bring my like Wi-Fi extender in the room or something because you guys are killing this shit right now. LJ, look like you're about to drop trowel. Look, all I'm saying is views are views. You do what you got to do. All right. I've got an 11-inch penis now, Duck. I have to swing for the fences with it. What happened to the cheerio chaps? I'm about to. Do you know what happened? I think it was. I've got the bottle here. I think is that as I've done more shows, I've just got used to talking more again. It sounds really weird, but it's very seldom. I work from home or my office, so like it's very seldom that I spend more than 10 minutes talking, like outright. Like I'm not in a job where I have to deal with the public or customers or like I used to be. So I just didn't talk a lot really. So I think that over time, the more shows I did, my throat would just start getting a lot less husky and a lot more able to handle the task of talking. So probably what it is. But I'll have a sip now, just for old time's sake. Just for old time's sake. Oh, tremendous crack cocaine in there. Matty, long time no talk. How are you doing, man? Nice to see you in the chat. You have a good thought on this. Does Zach Bound earn a starting spot in training camp? I don't know, but I'm very high on him. The last time I was this high on a very under the radar signing, genuinely, and I'm trying to not exaggerate, was Boston Scott. Also of the New Orleans Saints, coincidentally enough, off their practice squad. But I remember doing the film breakdown on Boston Scott and being like, God, he's naughty. He's going to be like a genuine asset for this team. And the content's there. You can go and see it. It's backlogged on YouTube somewhere. We did some Zach Bound tape on Monday night. We broke it down together on YouTube and Twitter. And I was really, really impressed. He hasn't had a big role. He's not a starter just yet. He's only ever been a rotational linebacker in New Orleans and a special teams ace. But I do think that when you look at how he was used at the line of scrimmage on both sides, off the line of scrimmage on both sides, over the middle. Like, he's very versatile, has a lot of speed, and just very instinctive. And I've not watched enough tape to say, like, outright weaknesses. I presume strength is one of them. Like, he's not someone that's going to win blocks on a regular basis, especially against linemen. He's built like a defensive end, if anything. And yeah, but he makes the right decisions and he's quick, is what I've taken away. So I think he will absolutely be an asset to this team. It's easy to say now when looking at the shape of this team, yes, he will, because there is no Zach Cunningham running in circles. There's no Nicholas Morrow doing a Sudoku. And all that's left is Nakobe Dean. So it's very easy for him to gain a starting role. Will they reinforce it? I'd like to think so. I genuinely think Peyton Wilson is an Eagle at this point out of NC State. I'm in love with him. I would die for him. I would literally serve 2 years in a Vietnam tunnel if it meant he'd be an Eagle. That's a true story. I think he is sensational. So, to me, I think the Eagles have some work to do. They might go and get a Devin White. They might go and get an Isaiah Simmons, and that would shore it up. But I think they're still kind of holding out hope for Nakobe Dean. And that's probably why they haven't gone all out to get a Mike just yet. As much as they could, and I think Peyton Wilson will be the better guy, I can also see a scenario where like they're bullish on him in the same way they are Nolan Smith. We haven't seen a lot of Nolan Smith. We haven't seen a lot of Nakobe Dean. But there's a reason those players are being built around. You just have to trust in it. I think he probably won't be a starter, but give him 3. I'll give him a year. He's only on a 1-year contract. I think he comes back next year. And then we'll start to rotate in maybe 6-7 weeks in, should there be an injury, and hold the fort. But I think he really is going to be an asset for this team in every sense of the word. If I had $1 for every pixel in this stream, I'd have 75 cents. Never change, Matt. Never change. I'm really sorry about the internet. I'm blaming you lot because we haven't had this many people. We got 288 of you watching on Twitter. You're blowing up my internet. I can't handle it. I didn't sign up for this. I'm used to 12 of you hanging around. So, and I've just got a notification saying it says connection is unstable. Sort of like my mental health, but here we are. So apologies for that. Hopefully, we can get it sorted. Good the bowl. Good the bottle. Oh, the bottle. Yeah, the bottle. Yes, the water bottle. The water bottle. All right, I've got the water bottle. Hope you're all having a lovely time. That's just for you, that one. You had to sit there just for you. We're over 30 likes. Where's my prize? I will sing you Enrique Iglesias' Hero in Spanish if you want. Se puedo ser todo. There you go. Look at that. That's for free. Again, they have to pay for that. You're welcome. Imagine bringing that out. Show that to your ladies, Matt. Show that to your friends. Bring it out at a kids' party. Just saying. Man in the middle there. You're the man in the middle. Joe Marucci is in. Nice to see you, Joe. Thanks for hanging out tonight. He makes a great point. Makes a fantastic Eagles observation here. Remember to hit that like button. All right, let's hit it. Come on. Pound it now if you're on YouTube. I want to see that grey thumb turn bluer than the New York Giants jersey that Saquon Barkley has just left. All right? Do it for Saquon. Like the video for Saquon. It's what he would have wanted. And if you're on Twitter watching this as well, hello. I know we've still got like nearly 300 of you on there. If you could retweet it, great. If not, calm. If you can come to YouTube, that would be amazing and do the same. Let's have a look. Biggest question, Joe says, for the Eagles now is who's going to wear 0? Who's going to be Agent 0? I don't think it's going to be CJ. I think, yeah, realistically, it can't be. Just keep it as it is. I mean, you can have one on offense and defense, can't you? So Saquon might want it on offense. Who's to say? Or will he keep 23? I don't know. 26, whichever bloody one it was. Yeah, I think defensively, I don't know. I can't see it being given up, put it that way. I can't see that one being surrendered. So there you go. Read your mock earlier today. See, again, Matt knows ball. That is the second person in this chat that has said that name that knows ball. And he knows ball because you read the mock. All right? Football in brilliance, Matthew. I appreciate you reading the mock, man. Thank you so much. The fact that you've remembered to pick means a lot. I really appreciate you. I hope it's a signed Sean Landetta jersey. If you're lucky. It could be a Sam Bradford, a match worn by me, Sam Bradford jersey. How do you know that, but not hello in Spanish? Basically, my best mate used to sing it all the time. I don't know. He used to like go on Omegle when that was a thing and just sing it to loads of girls. It worked. So I was, I'll take a leaf out of his book. And away we go. It's been in the locker ever since. What else is there I can do? I can't remember now. I can do it. Have I done the TIE fighter noise yet? I'll end the stream on the TIE fighter noise. There, it's a hidden talent. We'll end it there. And look, just as the show's about to end, Eric tunes in. Cheerio to Liam in the chat 12. Nice to see you, Eric. Thank you for stopping by, my friend. I hope you have had a tremendous Wednesday with Jake Elliott, Rick Lovato, Braden Mann, CJ, GJ, all in Philadelphia next year. What better way to end this stream? Guys, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. Steve hates all my mocks. I'm not surprised. Steve hates most things in life. No, I'm joking. He's a lovely man. But look, it's hard. It's hard doing mock drafts. It's hard. You never know, like, what to do. You never know. It's weird because the first one I put out this year, I thought was brilliant, and it got absolutely slated. And I was like, okay, the second one, I'll really do a fan service one. I'll select Jeremiah Trotter. I'll do all the bollocks. I'll get all the players that you're all obsessing over, and you'll like it, okay? And I did it, and everyone hated it even more. Everyone hated it even more. So I made one today, and I think that's now objectively the best one I've done. Mainly because it gets rid of Josh Sweat. It brings in a replacement in Darius Robinson. It also brings in some value at other positions, like we mentioned there, Dallin Holker. Guys like Luke McCaffrey are in it. There's a fantastic first-round pick. Won't spoil it, but he's brilliant. And he makes me want to drink some juice. Guess that would be cool. Yeah, that'd really aid my thirst, if you can get where I'm getting at there. Perfect stream. I'll give it a 97%. I think we can push a 98 there. He's even now he's playing hard to get. Look, cheeky little devil. We're going to be solid. I want to see us grabbing like 3-4 under the radar guys instead of name hunting. I agree. I think they've got their stars now. Zach Bound's a great example of a player that is going to be that sort of contributor for this team. I genuinely, if I could pick a breakout star for 2024 now that hasn't already established himself, would I choose him over Bryce? Bryce Huff kind of has. He had a 10-sack year. I'd choose Zach Bound. I think that if he can have a good camp, he's absolutely going to make an impact. I think he's got a brilliant skill set, insanely athletic, high IQ. We'll break down some more tape next time out for sure, I reckon. We can bring you up to speed. Unless you watch the replay, in which case you now know ball. Does his name rhyme with school aid? Let's just say, yeah, it does, yeah. Kool-Aid, look at it, yeah, it does, yeah. And that is the first pick of my mock. I'll tell you what I'll do before I go. I'll pin it in the chat so you guys can read it on your way out before you have a lovely evening. It is a 7-round mock because I don't fuck about. Excuse my French. And here you go. Can't put comments to some destinations, apparently. Ignore that. I will pin that to the top. Oh, no, I can't do that here. Oh, well, it's in the chat anyway if you want to read it. Guys, thank you for hanging out. It is now Monday day in my household. AEW's on an hour. I'm going to make some dinner and watch Mercedes Moné's debut and probably fall in love a little bit. I can't wait for that. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I know we've got so many of you on Twitter watching this. It's insane. 30 of you on YouTube. We're no longer in the trenches now. It is all out war in free agency. If you could leave a like on the way out, it would be massively, massively appreciated. I will see you on Friday night, 6 p.m. Eastern, to go over whatever other chaos the Eagles have done in the meantime. And if not, we'll be starting to break down some draft prospects, some tape, build some rankings and that sort of thing. And we'll have some fun. So enjoy the rest of your Wednesdays. Have fun, guys. Go Birds. I'll see you soon. I still can't do short goodbyes. Take care.